It's cool seeing how you guys.
A little behind the scenes. Yeah, we're doing it live, like at Mechanismus and Dark Side of the Cons. Are you doing Dark Force Fest?
No, I'm going to be doing.
I don't know if that's the public.
The plan is to do it anyway. I have been told I am in. So
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
I've got a very, very good booking agent, which is nice. So,
Awesome, man.
yeah, like they were Bauhauses, but they do Killing Joke and
Never
all
heard
of
of
those other people.
They're no ego. Or, the magnificent Stoneburner, which we'll do today in just a second. And great. Hi, welcome to Boat Couch, the third installment of Boat Couch. We have, his first appearance on Boat Couch, but of course, massive friend of the show, guest number one. I am over the moon, and I'm not even in space to be sitting next to one of your favorite guests and mine, Stephen Archer. We changed the tagline for Boat Couch. It's now on the boat with the goat, meaning the greatest guest of all time.
Yeah, I had to actually ask Donna because you called me that the other day, and I was like, "What the hell's what is this newfangled slang you're using?"
But not only do we have the goat, but we have the world wolf himself. Let's just start here. Wait, I screwed up. We gotta start with advertising real quick. Tiger Squawk Records, of course, you want to check out The Void from Smoldering Embers of Aggression, Aeternus Memoria, 84 tracks benefiting cancer research. New one from Duckbag, super, super good. You also want to get Amalgamated Cadaver. That's our me and Deaf Ladies Entry into Noise. Bounty did something called the Grubner Dichotomy. They named it that. Grasp Logic, new one out now. IDM-y, but like industrial at the same time. Super cool. Cuttlefish featuring our guest. Out now, available for pay what you want to pay, man. Batavia. Who can say enough about Batavia? Certainly not me. Blackness from Light Ray, out now on Attackers Clock. Church of Briantology Volume 2 is free Ruski. It's My Life is covered by Norway's Industrial. You know it's going to go hard. 3 new singles from Pill Brigade. What? Not 1, 3 new singles from Pill Brigade, and you get that all at Tiger Squawk.
I remember when they were just tiny little
babies.
They did one of their first shows was opening for us in Seattle.
No kidding, man.
So, yeah.
We of course, just got to see them at Mechanismus Festival, where we saw you. We'll get to that eventually because I need to get to This Machine Kills, out now on Cop. Let's just take a little bit of a listen to the title track.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right. Amazing. Oh my God. Okay, yeah, that's definitely going on the Google task list. And we're back. Okay, so not a shocker that Stoneburner brings some major power, but that release is just a sonic arm cannon. Tell me about, I know you do a lot of EPs, your feelings on this one, so where it fits into the larger quilt, if you will.
I did that because it needed to exist.
What do you mean?
Because I'm just so angry at everybody on the red team and everybody on the blue team, and,
because you've never been non-political, but this one's pretty.
I don't like being political. I really hate it. I hate being political. I hate the fact that, over the last 6 years, I've started paying attention to that kind of thing. And
We're on Bill's couch. It's just gonna happen.
Oh no, I know. Those are the sirens. They sting men to their death.
Yeah, you may see me right.
I'm sorry, but my drink is just not good enough. Now come over here.
Oh yes,
come sailor.
I'm lured onto the sea by complaints to the manager, and why do I have to remember my own password to the login page?
Exactly. But I'm just so frustrated that you have this idea when you're growing up that people want to become smarter and society wants to become more understanding and growing. And the past 6 years have really shown that that's not the case for a lot of people. And I don't understand it. It's just
in terms of being disappointed by adults, or
just disappointed by the fact that there are people who want to keep you dumb, like that praise ignorance and intentionally praise ignorance and intentionally strive to keep other people from just being human and being who they are and having their own rights. And
disco party.
It is a disco party.
Wow. So, welcome to the cruise.
Yeah, no, this is just, we're on a boat. This is the last night of the cruise. To catch you as the audience up to speed, we've been on the Goth cruise, day 7 or something like that. And so we've got a lot to talk about vis-a-vis the cruise, but I do want to circle back because it's a kick-ass album. You should get it now. Available on wherever you get your albums.
So I did 2 songs. I did This Machine Kills, which is kind of the anti-Red Hat thing, and then there's another song called The New Stupid, which is, unfortunately, almost all the lyrics are based on actual conversations I've had with people that should know better. Yeah, so and that's the part that's very
taking this all and channeling it almost verbatim.
Yeah. I mean, one of the big problems with our side is that everybody wants to have everything specific on their checklist. It's kind of like you don't get to, let's keep the planet from being on fire and keep the Nazis. Let's worry about the Nazis first, and then we can worry about every other little thing, or maybe ask this disenfranchised group of people if they want you to defend them. Before you step up and try and, because then you're making it about you and you're not actually trying to solve the problem.
Wow, that's a huge concept to tackle in music.
Yeah, it was really figuring out a way to work all the way out into it without sounding like a complete asshole. And also just the idea of people that I know that sit around and talk about, when are people going to wise up and do the, step up? Maybe this is going to make people, get up and do the thing. And I was like, what are you doing? And this is what I said to somebody. It's like, you don't even leave your house. How dare you turn around and tell...
You sort of talking to yourself.
This was me actually talking to another person I knew from when I was younger. I was like, you don't even leave your house. How dare you call other people out for not doing something when you don't even do that? So it's a very frustrating thing. And I've known a number of...
How are you guys?
Good. All right, just passing through. Yeah, and I've known a number of people who have gone to and been these protesting folks, and it's very much about, well, we could be pointing this camera at this problem here, but I'm going to point it at myself as I walk through this thing, and
it should be good for 20 likes.
Yeah, exactly, and that's, I find that so incredibly frustrating. We have to look at this bigger picture thing and not just, well, if I can't have this, then I might go bother to vote. Well, okay, cool. Thanks for making it harder for everyone involved. And you're supposed to, we like to pride ourselves on being the smart folks, and it's like you're not even looking at the big picture.
That snaps a lot into focus for me, being a fan, just because the lyrics are so. Not a lot is left to interpretation.
I'm 51 at this point. If I'm not going to just fucking say the thing, I'm going to say it.
Oh yeah, man. Can I ask you about technical stuff? Like, how was this album made? Was it?
It made just like all of them, really. Although, actually, the New Stupid took me about a year to get right.
Really?
Yeah.
You took a contract for that long?
No, okay. No. Normally, normally I'll write a full record in like 2 months. I wrote Apex Predator in a couple months.
Uh-huh.
But and this actually, New Stupid could have been on that, except I couldn't get it to work quite right. Whereas actually, This Machine Kills, I told Nathan, my drummer, I was like, all right, I'm going to be writing a club banger. And then like 45 minutes later, I sent him the basic music for it. He was like, I'm so angry that you're going to do that fast. And I'm like,
that's
do it
amazing.
for 20 years, you start to...
Well, I love that story because you sort of lived the plot of the thing where it's like, let's do it and not just put it out there and see how much comes back for my own personal Instagram.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day. Like, I don't want to be famous for my own ego, but I absolutely believe that the things that I make matter and have value and contribute to the people that it resonates with. And so the larger fan base I can make happen for that stuff, that's the goal. I honestly, and people don't believe this because I look the way I do, but I'm like, unless I'm on stage or doing something like this, I just want to be invisible. I don't want to deal with people. I just want to do, make the stuff and put it out there and then go do shows or whatever. But like, none of this has ever been about me. It's about like these things I think are matter, and I think are important.
That's man.
Me, this just barely exists.
Really?
So, oh yeah.
Do you think of yourself as a conduit?
Oh yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah, the way I try to, and it sounds, I don't mean this literally, but the way I explain it to people is the best way I have of explaining it is the artwork or the thing already exists floating around in this platonic ideal, and it's already perfect. But it needs to get down here in order to actually do anything. So your job is to bring it through without fucking it up. And
might take you a year to do.
Sometimes, yeah. And that comes down to building up this dialogue with the thing and kind of go, okay, what do you want? What do I have the ability to do? And you talk to it, and every once in a while, you'll be able to say, well, how about if we do it this way? And it might go, yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
But the problem comes when I see a lot of people who are like, I'm going to force this into this other thing to try and make it something it isn't or whatever, and without really listening to it. And I think that's where it starts to fall apart. And so if I do my job right, it's kind of like, don't need this.
Okay.
I just so the more you can remove self from it. Another example is like martial arts, where if you practice martial arts, you don't think about it when you actually need it, or driving. You're not thinking about driving; you're just doing it.
Or even the keto, or energy's coming in.
Yeah, or performing live.
Yeah,
it's the same sort of thing. It's like if I'm performing live, I am not there. I am becoming the vehicle for the stuff. And so yeah, it's not about you. It's about trying to do the absolute best you can to represent these ideas, and in.
Amazing. Well, let's make it a little bit about you. I want to do my fiduciary duty here on Boat Couch. Is it stoneburnerofficial.bandcamp.com or just stoneburnerofficial.com? Excuse me, I fucked it up. Bandcamp.com is where you gotta go to get This Machine Kills. Listeners of this show are not unfamiliar with the Stoneburner, but if you haven't checked out this one, it's pretty amazing. Let's just do this and let's address the manatee in the room. We're on a boat. This has been, as I understand it, we're on the boat largely due to your influence. So thanks again, buddy. Goth Cruise is amazing if you haven't had a chance to go at home. It's a kind of life altering, at least that's the way I'm finding it, with just all the excursions and experiences we've had. How do you think, let's start with ego likeness. How do you think the ego likeness set went?
Oh, it was good. It was fun. It was the first time we've actually done a show in quite some time.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Did it feel like it's just riding a bike for you at this point?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing the same stuff for 20-something years. So, but it's also nice to kind of be that guy every once in a while. So it's nice to kind of ride, what's the word I want? In the jet stream of Donna's ideas, which is really cool. Like, because there was a lot of
Donna was on fire
of love and love and hate in those songs, and so it's a very different world than Stoneburner lives in. So it's nice living in those spaces.
Fascinating. Well, Yeah, Eagle Light is, of course, legendary, but we do have the Stoneburner logo on the screen, so let's jump over to that. Well, how do you think Stoneburner fared this time around?
I'm really happy with what the show's doing live. It's, so I'm doing the whole big wolf thing, and I had no idea how that was going to go.
Giant wolf costume,
Big wolf head
for you at home.
Outfit and lights. So it's totally excessive.
Yeah, you can see pictures of it online, but you gotta see it live.
And I made it, and I was just like, I have absolutely no clue how this is going to go over with these shows, because, and that's been the whole experience. Like the first song on Apex Predator is pretty much this trap song, sung from the point of view of a 2,000-foot-high wolf chaos guy. Right. And I was like, look, you're either going to have to get on board with this or not. And so I was like, well, if you're going to do it, let's just do it. Let's go. If you're going to go over the top, make it happen. And it's been fantastic. It's on a personal, and this is a weird little technical thing. Right before lockdown, I started doing all those broadcasts because I have to do them fairly late at night, and we have neighbors, but they're fairly far away. But still, I got in-ears for monitors, and it helped me learn to sing so much better, and that really made a huge difference. Yeah, and
so for you at home, in terms of like if you're playing on stage and you have what's called the monitor, sometimes a wedge. That's so we on stage can hear ourselves, and with these inner monitors, it's going right in your ear.
It's just going to wedge
on stage, and that helps you just sort of like because it's in your head, or
it's just instant feedback, the good kind. But yeah, that's because I live with a trained opera singer, and so there's a certain amount of like trepidation about trying to go out and hold your own, but. Yeah, so that just on an absolute personal level, that is incredibly satisfying to know that I am hearing the same show every night, whether or not everybody else does. I don't have any control over it, but knowing that and knowing how far you can push your voice and not blowing it out because you can't hear yourself, which means that by the time you get to the end of the set and maybe you do the quiet song, you're not going to have to worry about sounding like shit. Otherwise, I've just been working on, all the lights are programmed, there's all video and stuff.
Yeah, you really put on a show.
And I got a really nice compliment from Kristen at COP. He was like, every song, you're doing something different.
It's amazing.
Which was very intentional, because we all have the attention spans like that.
What was it?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's Christian on COP International, friend of the label.
And we, of course, have the limitation of the fact that we tour in a minivan. So there's a lot of cool, trying to figure out how to bring as big a show as possible with as little as possible that still fits.
It's a big part of the game, man.
But just trying to come up with things that people don't normally do. I really want to have mechanized video screens that kind of come up and down.
Cool.
And it's all easy to do because we live in the future. It's just figuring out the mechanics of some of it and making it roadworthy.
Awesome. Well. Wow, as the number one friend of the show, you are not one for setting me up for the next question. So thank you for that. Because speaking of evolution, Stoneburner has gone through, to my eyes, fairly fascinating evolution. I want to get a little woo woo because. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but at least in my sense, it started out as a kind of belly dance doom thing.
It was a tribal sort of. It was to answer the question that I had, which is what would dance music on Arrakis sound like, right? And that gave an interesting set of limitations to it and elements to work with. And I did 5 albums and some other EPs or whatever of it.
5 albums, you guys.
And I started working on the final one, or the next one, and I was just like, I could write something, and the people who like this stuff will love it, and it's going to bore the shit out of me. Because I think I felt like I had just explored the whole thing so much, and so eventually I decided that I was like, okay, I'm just going to write this industrial record that I've been promising that I would do for the last 30 years, which is what became Technology Applies Belligerence.
Yes.
And
I think episode 102 or something like that we got into.
How do you know that? How many episodes do you have?
This will be 155 or 6.
156 hours of your life.
Yeah.
Doing this thing. That's
Just
crazy.
and it's been life altering.
Yeah, I know it's opened up a lot of doors.
A lot of doors.
I really want to do one of these, and I really need to figure
That'd
out.
be great. I would love to see where your beautiful brain
Oh, it's going to be called
goes.
Stephen Has Questions, and I've got so many people that I know that do really interesting stuff, and I just want to sit them down and be like,
"Are you hearing this?
talk to me and
Both
explain to me
couches.
how it works. You know, like how do you do this?
Well,
thing?
then answer me
How does
this.
it work?
In the year 2022, what is Stoneburner?
That's a real good question, actually. I'm still trying to figure where I'm going with it. I have this. It's always a balance between I want to write really noisy dance music and I want to write music that sounds like a car crash. And it's figuring out the places to make that all work. You know, and trying to figure out what I want to talk about, and that because that starts to dictate a little bit the form of the destroyer, you know, and
Meaning this agent of change by way of music.
well, the lyrics, you know, if I'm going to write something that's very soulful and emotional, then that's going to kind of dictate a certain style of music, and then sometimes it's just making paintings with songs. I just did a song for Rex for his compilation.
Oh yeah, I'm on that one, man.
And the entire thing came out of a portmanteau of excrement and crematorium. So the song ended up being excrementorium. There's a part of the chorus.
Oh wait, I got sports shirts on.
Me too.
Sports shirts.
Say, kids, how you doing?
Okay, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic.
Y'all must be the host of karaoke.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But some of the lyrics on the chorus are, was it into the excrematorium, the viscera emporium.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, and that's just an example of I really like the way these wordplay flows, which is a lot of fun to do. And so, and it's funny because actually the original the verse for that song was written based around just me kind of thinking about Leonard Cohen writing style. You know, to every child I give a gift, a silver knife to pass the time, a double-barreled shotgun full of calling nursery rhymes, and thinking, well, and he could do that, and over an acoustic guitar, and it would sound really cool, but you know, it ended up in a very different way, but it still worked. So you know, sometimes there's flexibility, but like for that song, it's very much just about creating a whole feeling. But I do like to have every record has a touchstone that I work with that I can always go back to. I don't always stick with it, but like Apex Predator was about anger, and whereas Beauty is Terror is about loss of self. So there are songs that are dealing with, you know, loss of self through drugs, through sex, through death. You know, or Red in Tooth and Claw, which is a story about the whole werewolf thing. So I'm still trying to pin down what's going on there. I've got two ideas. One is, do you know what the Great Filter is?
I don't.
So the Great Filter is this conceptual idea that somewhere between where we are currently and being a spacefaring survived existence, you know, species, is a singular or a few singular moments that we have to get through, that we have to pass through in order to become that. We have to survive it. Like the development of nuclear power.
Okay.
How
civilization stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so it's part of the Fermi thing, where like part of the reason, or well, the reason we may not have seen more signs of life, or any signs of life, is that they have not passed through this great filter.
Okay. Like in Star Trek, when you do hit the FTL, the fast and light travel, then we can talk to you as a species.
Right,
Okay.
yeah, sort of like that. But it's not really even them. It's just like, can you get past all these things without killing everything?
Okay.
You know, it's not like there's somebody out there like doling out karma or whatever. It's just, you know, if you can't, not blow yourself up, then there's this potential. So that's idea one, and that's about, so the record itself being an idea about pushing limitations and how you deal with limitations and how you deal with those things. And then the other one that just occurred to me is there was a thing, tragically, called a thylacine. And the thylacine is one of my very favorite extinct animals. It was a Tasmanian tiger.
Oh, yeah. I've seen pictures of them. They were good.
And there's footage online, too, which is cool. Yeah,
really
there's black and white footage from the last living thylacine. There are occasional reports of them being seen, but nobody's proved. But they're also looking to try and make them again, because we have genetic material from them. And I'm a big fan, like with coelacanth. I'm a huge fan of survivors and things that can fight to hold their place in the world. Because I mean, I live a world away from reality. I make a living as an artist, living in the forest. My wife and I are both seriously mentally ill. And
say nothing of being in the middle of the ocean right now.
Well, yeah, I'm being in the ocean right now. But so the fact that I'm able to do all of this stuff is so wildly unlikely, and all of that has come from I'm just going to keep pounding at this until it works.
Yeah, I mean,
and so the thylacine thing may end up being an element in there also, because they're just badass. 70 degrees. They can open their mouths 70 degrees of arc. Which is
like a cartoon.
Yeah, like that's
crazy.
They're really cool.
So, and maybe there's no advantage in trying to wrap it in a bow, but to sort of get to the question, it sounds like Stoneburner is evolution.
It's always evolved. Yes, Stoneburner, Ego, both of them have always been very much about that. So I mean, we have an entire song for Ego called "Save Your Serpent" that's very much about all of that. But I mean, like the idea of putting out the same thing over and over and over again is just repugnant to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've never, and you've had such a motor. I've always just been inspired by doing. I mean, we've had you on so many times, and we haven't even talked about the same band twice, Mask of the Red Death, or any of that. It's just inspiring. We could go in any number of places. I want to get to this because we talked very impromptu with Nathan earlier today about that tour.
The tour was difficult.
For you at home, if you're just seeing this episode, our beloved Stoneburner had to cancel a tour.
Good. Yes, we got 4 shows into it.
4 shows in, and then
everybody got sick. And then we all got COVID, and we've all been vaccinated and done all the right things. But then this new Delta variant came along and kicked our asses, and it was not good. Everybody else did more or less. It just got kind of sick. I ended up with a 103 temperature, and probably should have ended up in the hospital. 103.
103. Okay.
But they were able to give me the antigen.
Wow.
Which
I didn't know. Is that gnarly?
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and we ended up staying holed up in a hotel in Utah, I think, somewhere for a week, just bleeding money.
Oh my god,
bleeding money and being very sick, and
wow,
and then came home, and so, which is very frustrating because. I've spent the last 3 years of my life building up to this tour, writing the music, putting together the stage show, and just trying to make all of it come together. The funny part is that, not this past January, but the January before that, when I realized that people were just going to keep fucking everything up. I got really, really angry about it because
just did the world.
Yeah. And I was like, so how do you even deal with this? And that's where actually the song "Sellout" came out of. So was me doing, well, I can just keep doing this art thing or whatever, or I can just sell the fuck out. So why not? I'll just do that thing. And because I remember thinking at the time and watching people still not get vaccinated and still work against the interests of everybody. And I was like, see, now you're pissing in my pool.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like, it's one thing if everybody is acting in the world's best interests and trying. But when people are intentionally, deliberately not doing that, and I get it, they're scared. And they're scared because they're stupid. And I'm sorry, it's ignorant. It's intentionally ignorant. The information is out there. You're making a choice. And so it's like, so now, like, at the time I was 50 or 49 or whatever, it's like thinking, and you start seeing the window of time you have to do the things that you feel like you need to do, getting smaller and smaller and smaller, because all of these other people are making these choices that are just counterproductive to everything. And ironically, that is, how it played out with this tour, So I kind of got stabbed by the ignorance. It's just like, oh, well, there you go. Hey, cool. Perfect example.
Well, maybe this will be, I don't know how much meat there'll be on this bone, but it seems like a good segue into this. I've been fortunate enough to play many, many shows and festivals with you. And one of those most recently was the amazing Mechanismus Festival. And we can get into the finer points of that. But with what you're saying now, I'm reminded of the consolidated cover that you did, the flag that came back from that. Is that sort of shadows of what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, that's certainly a thing. I mean, so here's an interesting thing. So I did a show in Milwaukee.
Okay. Hey!
With Amsite.
Hey, Amsite. All right.
And really, it was their show. I was just, sometimes you're headlining, sometimes you're playing last. In this particular case, I was playing last. Well, no, I mean, honestly, people were there for them, and I was the bonus feature at the end, which is fine. I mean, that's just how it is sometimes. But, and they put together the show. So, I wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for them wanting to do it. So, but there is a line in Casa about, who's going to say when they're bombing all the clinics. And I get to the end of the set, and I'm off stage, I'm just kind of hovering around. This woman comes up to me and says, I had never heard your stuff before. I, wasn't aware of any of it. I was in that clinic in Florida that was bombed.
Wow.
Yeah, she's like, I worked there when that happened. And she said, so thank you very much for doing that and keeping that alive. Yeah. And, I grew up
consolidated cover, the band, if you're at home and want to check it out.
I grew up in D.C. and was there in the middle of the late 80s, all those protests and all that stuff. And did all the protesting and the escorting people at abortion clinics and things like that.
Wow.
And, it's just, it amazes me, even just now, that things like Roe versus Wade could be overturned. It's just so disgusting and horrible. So I hate the fact that, once again, I had to bring that song back out.
You're very explicit with that, the backing video and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm at an age now where I just can't, I don't think the pulling punches works. I don't think being subtle works anymore, and people are either going to get it or they're not. And oftentimes they get it. They just don't want it. So it's very disappointing. I just want to write songs about people crawling through landscapes made of flesh and bones. I don't want to write about, I don't want to have to deal with being so angry that I have to spit at people. And we're in this really privileged position where I can literally yell at a group of people. One of the interesting bonuses of doing that material live is that we did, and this happened at Mechanismus, was watching people leave.
Wow!
When you play these songs, or literally just getting flipped off from the audience.
Wow!
Because they don't agree with what I have to say.
Wow.
And the guy that
Hola, chico.
What's up?
que pasa. And the guy who did that actually ended up getting kicked out, and he was he said something to Nathan upon him going back into the festival, and Nathan had one of the best responses. He was like, "Then, sorry you didn't like it, but that makes it you're the person we played. I'm glad you got to hear that."
Super cool. Let's hit a hypothetical, and then we can. I know you got. Are you DJing? You're not.
No, I'm
Let's
I'm
actually.
done.
Let me do. Ha 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 ha! Oh, we got a boat for boat couch. Look at that. Awesome for me.
Please, me, Bota, you Bota.
Guys.
It also makes a lovely hat.
Let's see if I can keep this on my noggin for the rest of the episode. Let's do one real quick hypothetical spectacle. We've done video game for you. What do you think the Stoneburner theme park would look like?
Oh wow! Well, it'd probably be all made of. It'd be the body horror theme park.
Oh yeah,
meat and bones, and
you just ride down like some capillary.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Come to the gristler. The gristleizer would be a whole other thing.
That's an album right there. The gristleizer.
That was a thing. That was a thing. It was the throbbing gristle effects processor that Chris. What's his name?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, story time with the world wolf. Like, yeah,
exactly. A giant wolf head with roller coasters going out of it. One-way trip into the tunnel.
Just
welcome to the Great Cull. Go in, nobody comes
have
out.
Like
big smoke.
The giant drops, but it goes like down, and you call it the lowest place on earth.
Oh yeah,
and that's an ego likeness song. But I have a merry-go-round called Contracting Iris. Like it just sort of sucks you down.
Cool thing about Contracting Iris. So, technology implies belligerence. Had a lot of stuff based on a book called Blindsight by Peter Watts.
Right.
Who I went on and stalked long enough that we and I became friends. And when I was writing Contracting Iris, I was like, well, this is either a song about a girl named Iris or a disease named Iris. And eventually I kind of got how it was both and how they kind of interacted. So I wrote Peter, and I was like, hey, this is kind of your wheelhouse here. Would you be interested in writing a story?
That's amazing.
So he did. And on the record, there's a link to download it. And on the single for Contracting Iris, there's an hour and a half or so audiobook that we did with Donna reading it, and then me scoring it.
That's Renaissance man, Renaissance wolf over here. I don't have this down, but just as sort of a veteran, not only of Boat Couch, but the boat here, the Gothic Cruise sort of OG. What is your thoughts on this life or
I love this event. I've seen people kind of malign it as, you're paying all this money to go hang out with these bands or whatever, and that's not what it's about at all. It's to me, it reminds me of when I was like 19 and getting into clubs illegally and going on and having fun. But there was this real great unified sense that we're all just having fun on the same team. And or like some of the, I can't speak for the rest of the world, but DC had this really cool convention scene. And so again, it was very much like you just had this nice, awesome group of people all with similar interests. But everybody was allowed to have their own individual self in it. And now, it's tends to be an older group because in order to do it, you have to be able to afford to go on cruises. But the people there, they're all lifers,
Right.
Like, and they are still, attached to all of this stuff. But it's not just about going to see these bands. It's about like just going on shore excursions. I have swum with sea turtles and stingrays and just went to the sloth sanctuary and Donna climbed in volcano, and
Crazy. Just that excursion that Donna was good enough to invite us to. What an event!
yeah, you get to go to your own personal
Lagoon.
Yeah,
Incredible.
and it's there's all kinds of arguments you can make about bougie this or bougie that or whatever. It's like, you know what? But it's a life experience. It's a life experience to go and do something.
Mm-hmm.
And, it also actually is a very good thing from an economic standpoint. Like a lot of these places that we are going to have nothing. And so their major trade is this tourism thing. So, you are actually actively putting money into the pockets of local craftspeople and things like that, so there is a lot of that.
And the real deal, too, not like, some native Alaskan trinket that's made in Taiwan.
Right, no, these are, a lot of this stuff is all handmade. And you get to see, you get to look to the Mayan pyramids, I would never have been able to do that. And
it really does feel, to me, don't let me put words in your mouth, that the group coalesces by about this time, and family is such a cheeseball thing, but that's the word that comes to my mind.
The first year we did one of these, we got home, and then a week later we did the first Stoneburner tour. And out at every single show, and that was a really big year. It was like a 25th anniversary or something, and so there were like 300 people on the cruise.
Wow!
And there were people at almost every single show.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
From the cruise, and they're still, there are these people that are in our lives now still, and some of them are really amazing humans.
I mean, the people that we were privileged enough to do the 2016 Alaskan cruise, and I met people there that let me crash in their hotel that I went to go down to Gen Con to hang out with the woman that's not my wife. Like, that's, the cruise helped me with that. And for me, not only do I get to hang out with like people like you, and we get to have these asides and just sort of, not for the camera, but just for like us, and figure things out. I mean, you've been so helpful to me personally, and even to me as an artist, just to
you
reset my head.
And just be. You get to be around your friends in bands that you only get to see. I keep staring at your crotch because he has space.
Oh yeah, I'll see if I can do it here on the. So let's put my nuts right up on the camera. There we go.
Cool. Very nice. So I keep seeing that in the corner. Anyway,
I just broke this chair.
Oh wow! Oh no, it looks like it folds together here.
Okay,
there we go.
There we go. That is. Not only did Steven save a gossicle set last night because we had just technical problems and I'm dumb out of batteries, and for the first set, like, it sounded great to me on a rec, but it couldn't, just the monitors that we were talking about earlier. So thank you for that. And you get, I'm inspired personally just by talking with other bands and artists, and just like human stuff, like being under the stars and watching the sunrise. I mean, if that doesn't get your like mental juices going.
Well, I have this ritual that I do after every show. Whenever we play on this, I'll finish up and I'm all sweaty and gross and disgusting. I'll go up and I'll walk around on the deck listening to the first Seal record and dancing by myself underneath the stars, just because it's such a nice.
You heard it here. Steven Archer listens to Seal.
I love that record.
After he does the show and walks around.
I do. It's fantastic. And then I switched over the other night after Stoneburner was the first, or not the first. It was Mezcal Head by Swerve Driver, which was also an appropriate one. But no, that first Seal. Go back and listen to it. The production on that is fucking insane. Okay. It is so. Like, across the board, the songwriting, I get that it's not the big crunchy cool stuff that we're all supposed to talk about, but like. You are allowed to actually like things that aren't part of this. It's okay.
That's not goth.
I know it's not.
Yeah, take my Prince albums from my cool club.
Right, and ultimately we're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy. So
well, I think you and I are going to survive for a long time. Right. You want to check out stoneburnerofficial.bandcamp.com. Get this Machine Kills. What's next for the mighty Steven Archer?
We'll be home. It'll almost be October. I'm going to have a new audiobook out with two-time Grammy winner, Stefan Rudnicki, who has just the coolest voice ever. He called me to talk one of the very first times, and I picked up the phone. And it's like, because I explained to him that I have a sleep disorder, so I pick up the phone and it's just like, "Hello, Mr. Night Owl." I'm like, "Holy shit! I'm in the Justice League." Yeah. So I did Mask of the Red Death, and he did the dialogue for it and the reading of it, and he liked it so much. He was like, "Do you want to do more of these?" And I was like, "Well, sure. I mean, it doesn't cost us anything. He has his studio. I have my studio. He did his thing. I just put it all, put the music and soundscape together. And he also has a distribution company called Skyboat that works with one of the big distros for audiobooks. So that will be out right around Halloween, and it's all based on the really, really early Carcosa kind of the very beginnings of cosmic horror as it started. Like it hadn't even grown tentacles yet. It's just kind of weird, spooky.
I'm flipping out. I'm so excited. Is there a title you want to drop, or should we just wait?
Oh, it's called Beyond Carcosa.
Beyond Carcosa. We're going to look for that.
It'll be on Audible and everywhere else.
On Audible!
And it's about 2.5 hours. And you can just enjoy Steven's amazing velvety voice, and then weird ass little soundscapes that I have been doing.
Would you sign this vote?
What else? Speaking of Mechanismus, Ego is playing at Mechanismus now for next year.
Oh, great!
I was allowed to announce that, but so Ali, I'm sorry if that damages your IP. And we have some other shows coming up where if you're on the East Coast, we're playing with the Dead Milkmen, who are good buddies of ours, at some point in the near future, and then we're doing Unconvention in Jersey in November, and there'll be both those bands, and I'll probably be doing my thing with Cenotype again, which is always fun.
Oh, yeah! Wow, it just doesn't stop.
And then I got a few shows at the end of the year, and I've got Queen Neon record that's going to be out hopefully
Queen
soon.
Neon, please come back to talk about record Neon.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to check out, just look up either Ego or Stoneburner. They're probably coming to you. Unless you're...
We will be back doing stuff next year. We'll be doing shows with Ego on the way out to Seattle and back. And then we're going to be doing a makeup run of shows because Stoneburner is supposed to be, assuming this actually plays out, supposed to be doing South by Southwest, which will be cool. And so we're going to do kind of makeup shows for some of the stuff that we missed on the way out to that and back as well. And then Donna, I should mention this too. Donna has an amazing new book of poetry out called Girls from the County. It is horror, but it is very real human horror. I mean, she grew up more or less where we live now in Bel Air, Maryland, which is, middle of fucking nowhere, very rural. And anybody who has lived in that kind of thing knows the stories.
Where do people get that?
EagleLikeness.com? Everywhere, yeah. Amazon, you can order it through your favorite bookstores.
Drop that title one more time.
Girls from the County.
Girls from the County.
Published by Raw Dog Screaming Press.
Oh, big ups to them.
And
I don't know them, but they just...
No, they're fan. They
I know of them.
Put out... they are very... I don't know how to explain this right. They have guts. They will put out things that other people won't.
That's cool.
They are also the people who published my children's book, Linda Maris.
Author, audio engineer, DJ. We didn't even get into that. I've never danced. Heidi, my wife, says I've never seen you dance this much in 10 years. So just lighting up the dance floor. We'll look for Beyond Carcosa when it comes out. Your homework now, however, is out now on the amazing Cop International. Stoneburner.com. Look at this machine kills. This is Brian for Boat Couch, for Steven, for goodness gracious, Stoneburner, Ego Likeness, DJ Steven Archer, Queen Neon, author, publisher, all around Renaissance man, and number one friend of the show. on the boat with the goat. Catch you later. I just, I let us talk over the new sponsor, I Hate Artists. Thank you to Closer Games, of course, my buddy from high school vet. Dominic, love you. Aaron, love you. Hack. Gremley, Ray from Providence. Fly Ahead from Baton Rouge. Rolf from Ragoon. Hunt and Talk for the great movie The Ditch. And of course, Glitch on Twitch. And of course, deference to our tyrannical, violent overlords, Tigers Walk Digital.